Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is June 18th, and our reading is Waterloo. The generation that made the French Revolution had an extravagant conception of the omnipotence of man's reason and the boundless range of his intelligence. Never, says de Tocqueville, had humanity been prouder of itself. And that's from Eric Hoffer, The True Believer, Thoughts on the Nature of Mass Movements. On 18 June 1815, Wellington defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, a date that deserves more credit than the events that made it necessary. The Bastille was stormed 14 July 1789. Napoleon rose to power in November 1799. The Napoleonic Wars killed an estimated 7 to 9 million people, at least half of them civilians. Bonaparte wanted to standardize Europe. God, please deliver us from people who want to standardize us. Efforts to manipulate and control others arise and they disband. They disband and they arise. The phrase, "meet my Waterloo," comes from the iron law of the universe that pride goeth before the fall. When we're filled with hubris and we think we've got the answers and we're going to give it to everybody good and hard, we're just begging for the universe to smack us in the head. And that's exactly what happened to Napoleon. He poo-pooed Wellington, calling him the sepoy general, but between the 16th and the 18th of June, he got his hiney kicked. Now, if you go visit the Waterloo battlefield, you could be forgiven for thinking that Napoleon had won. Napoleon became a great hero to the French people and to many Belgians and Luxembourgers and other people in the world. To this day, they think that his rationalization of things in Europe was a really good idea, but they just kind of have to step over the 9 million bodies on their way to telling him what a swell guy he was. The revolution in France was the presenting cause for Napoleon's overthrow of that revolution. And the reason it was overthrown is because revolutions always eat their own. Case in point, the plans that Napoleon proposed to use in order to rationalize French society and then organize a united Europe that would do things his way were mostly drawn up by a guy named Condorcet. Condorcet was an intellectual and a marquis, and he served the old regime as the director of the Paris Mint from 1774. In 1789, when the revolution broke out, he was all for it. In fact, he was elected a deputy from Paris in 1791. He had a whole bunch. The good idea fairy basically took up residence in his head full time. He had a great deal of antipathy for the Catholic Church and its terrible influence on people in France. Like Rousseau and Thomas Paine, he thought that we needed to have a good bloodletting in order to straighten things out. They weren't sure. They were pretty sure that the people in charge were bad. They didn't think anybody else could do it. But, well, you and I could do it. Why don't we do it? There, Bob's your uncle. He had a great plan for two-tier education system by savants. This was a plan that was put into effect in 1795. But by that time, he was already dead. He only lasted for 3 years. He was arrested and jailed in 1794 and was awaiting execution, and somebody either slipped him some poison or he somehow tripped on a big lump of opium and died. His ideas were only later resurrected. I'm not making that up about the opium. That was in his blood when he was autopsied. I'm not sure what they were doing with that back in those days, but that's what they say. Anyway, smarty pants have all kinds of good ideas, and if they're lucky, it doesn't blow up on them. If they're unlucky, the people they're running with might just take care of themselves. Alert listeners will know what we're going to say next. We advise that you stay as far away from mass movements as you can possibly be. Mind your own business, keep your hands to yourself, and realize that you're not the boss. So happy trails to you until we meet again.